Hey everybody, welcome back to the land of low friction. And today's video, I'm just going to be ripping through a couple of updates on a few fun topics, as well as, depending on time, possibly a couple of your questions sent in. So I do try to save a bunch of just sort of the more frequent and good questions that come in as inquiries. I might get to that just to celebrate the relaunch of our frequently asked questions document. Because Andrew has been working on that for a little bit and he's finally finished the revamp, so that's awesome. And we've now uploaded onto the website the much better document than the quite sort of bowl of spaghetti mess that was my original. Alrighty, firstly, thank you for the great comments and input and feedback and support around the corrections of Reginald Scott's rather diabolical immersive waxing video. And yeah, huge thanks and kudos to those who somehow managed to watch nearly 3.5 hours of me correcting Reginald's information. The full correction was obviously never intended that anyone is going to want to sit down and watch me for 3.5 hours doing that. Really just to duck to a timestamp or two of interest, or to just get a general feel as to how wildly illogical, inaccurate, and in my opinion outright dishonest attempt by Reginald to show up immersive waxing as being rather horrific versus just using oil. I'm thinking about, I'll have a look at what my stationary printing place does to see if there's anything that I can get made to send out as like a little commemoration on your next order. Just type in the order "I survived the full Reginald" or something like that to show that, or tell me that you actually watched that full corrections video. And yeah, I'll see if there's a little something that that I can send out. But give me a week or two to play around with that next stationary order. But overall, yeah, especially thank you to those who were really good with the comments, that you've been doing immersive waxing for quite some time now, and reinforcing just how simple and just how easy it is, and obviously across a range of conditions, because what he presented was just so nuts that if you haven't seen it, it's hard to put into words. But also I think some things that we can now refer to, if something takes an exceptionally long time to complete that should be able to be completed very simply and easily, and yet somebody is doing it at massive length and complexity instead, I think we can probably refer to that now on as something being done at Reginald speed, because it does not take you an hour of your time to re-wax a chain. It's 3 minutes. And apologies, of course, if your name is Reginald and you are perfectly sane and competent and able to complete simple tasks simply. There is unfortunately some strange person in cycling who is sullying your good name. But just, final reflection on this in the days since I've made that corrections and all this came to my attention, is I can't understand what his expected outcome from this was. I suspect that for some reason he's feeling a little bit threatened or triggered by the rise of immersive waxing. And so he's thought, you know what, I'll be able to make a video that just shows immersive waxing to be this mega faffy, messy, doesn't give you any benefits after all for all this crap type video. But the problem was he reached to such nonsensical, illogical, and stupid places that are so easily disproven and corrected. And, for most of them, nobody really needed me to correct them. From what I've heard, he's been fairly well slayed in the comments on his own video, in that he's gone to places that are so ridiculous that was it worth the embarrassment to present to people such utter rubbish in the attempt to tear down immersive waxing that was worth it. What he put together, I can't possibly see how the trade-off to his own self-respect and reputation is worth whatever dent he thought he might make to people considering, going down the immersive wax path to save themselves a whole bunch of wear to their drivetrain and have a lovely clean drivetrain all the time and so on. So I don't know. I just do not think that this all worked out how he in his mind thought it would when he thought he was being oh so clever, putting all that crap together. Now, will Reginald continue the saga, as I think he's generally fairly motivated to do with any topics he delves into. It seems like he will love to have a multi-episode debate with somebody about something. I don't know if he's pondering a response. I had a quick look at his feed. His general cadence of releasing videos seems relatively frequent. So there's one about 1 month ago, 1 month ago, 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and the previous one 10 days ago. So potentially he is taking a little bit longer before the next vid release to perhaps have more time to put his own rebuttal together. So goodness knows what that could be, if that's what he's doing, and where he might go and where he might reach to. But let's hope it's, nothing just utterly ridiculous. Obviously, if he's got any actual points, if he wants to correct any of my corrections on a point of merit, would love to obviously know what that is. But if it's going to be utter nonsense, then we'll probably try to park Reginald from here on out forever and ever. Amen. Because, I think we've done enough there. Now, if you think I'm being a bit harsh, you don't have to watch it. Just have a look at the number of timestamps in the full correction video. I believe it is around 45 actual points of correction. Now, it should obviously be impossible that somebody can get 45 things, not just wrong, but wildly wrong around how to immersively wax your chain. You would be correct in thinking there's nowhere near 45 steps. So things went to very strange places, and he has to be responsible and accountable at the end of the day for the content he produced there. So, all right, let's finish up. And since he played some what he thought were funny clips to make fun of immersive waxing, I think we'll finish off the Reginald saga with something that I think sums up his video quite perfectly.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points.
Fingers and toes crossed. Let's let that be the final wrap on Reginald Scott and information on immersive waxing. Just a quick little update. Since the Finish Line Halo Immersive Wax detail review, had a long-term follower contact me just to basically fill me in that they had done some testing themselves with initially with the Finish Halo Wax. And they just want to let me know that I guess some similarities that they had. So they advised that the bag of Halo Wax they received looked just like my first bag, and that it's pretty much looked like a bag of wet sand as opposed to wax pellets, and that lo and behold their chain wore to basically 0.5% in under 1,000 kilometers of cycling. And also another sort of similar thing was that they contacted Finish Line around this, and Finish Line's response was, well, there's obviously something wrong with your testing. So for those that had watched the initial videos around the testing of the Finish Line Immersive Wax, and the sort of shock horror that I received when I did that first test, and that it wore the chain just at the end of the 1,000 kilometer clean block one, something that had never been done before. That Finish Line's initial response before they cut off communication with me was that, they've got some concerns about my testing. I'd obviously replied that please let me know any of those concerns, because I'd be happy to talk you through them. But at the end of the day, my test is pretty simple. We're just running it on a bicycle drivetrain at 250 watts. But past that response from them saying that they've got concerns, that was the last response I ever received. So they have been incommunicado. So just putting it, I guess, out there and flagging, just in case they ever do want to open up lines of communication and be honest and open to all of us out here following along in the little world of chain lubrication. If you have concerns with my testing or with this other person who's contacted you and their testing, raise those concerns. We are here and happy to answer any questions. And also, if you can explain, I guess, the difference between the bags that we received, that would also be amazing. Can you tell us why the first bags looked like a bag of sand and wore through the chain as if we were using a bag of wet sand, and the subsequent bag that looked like wax pellets was tested like a competitive bag of wax? So again, I don't think it's out of the realms that they would have had some initial batching fun putting this product together. It's a new product lineup for them, and these products are not the easiest to get consistent when you're initially going to scale and volume production. I think it's very, very poor, and it is misleadingly dishonest, if that's a phrase that we can put together, to just sling mud without actually having the respect to even raise what your concerns are, to just put out there that, we have concerns. I have concerns. I think they're valid, and I've raised them specifically, and I would love a specific and actual substantive response. That shouldn't be a difficult thing in your position as a big, long-standing company with significant resources on all fronts. So it's not like we're discussing on the world stage who started the war in Ukraine. Sorry, excuse me. We can see from just the pictures that obvious differences between the bags, and rather extraordinary differences in the wear rates from, oh my God, am I running sand as my lubricant, to something quite competitive. So finish line, it shouldn't be the exception that companies are being open and honest about if they have any issues around something, especially initially. We'd like to see companies like Finish Line helping create that it's normal to be able to be open and honest and discuss these things, and that will actually generate better confidence in your brand than if you're doing what you're doing at the moment. Well, at least what, in my opinion, that you're doing. If I'm wrong, please tell me why I'm incorrect. That would be awesome. Alrighty, one of the questions I get asked relatively frequently is, have I heard about KMC Go chain wax, and am I looking to test that anytime soon? So I can't be 100% certain. However, I'm 99.999% certain that KMC Go wax is rebottled squirt. They did have a previous history with selling chains directly or sort of pre-factory lubricated with squirt as opposed to factory grease. And they are offering the KMC Go pre-wax chains as well as the product in a bottle that you can buy. I do have somebody I know at Squirt, and when I asked them if it was rebottled Squirt, they just sent me a smiley face emoji as a reply. So I'm taking that as fairly strong confirmation. So at this stage, that's not going to be on the list to be tested because we did test Squirt a while ago. It's possible that Squirt has had an update. I'm going to try to get confirmation on that, or if they've got a new improved formula coming out shortly. I think, if there's been definite updates to Squirt or a new version that is coming out, when that does come out, we'll add it to the test long list. But when Machine 4 is completed and up and running, which I'll be trying to get done as soon as I can, and I'm working with my IT lady around this as well, is that we want to have a way that the next, or the tests that are queued up on this Machine 4 are the most requested test or most voted test by your good selves that are following, as opposed to me deciding what goes on there. So without rambling too much on this one, there is a possibility this new machine may be taken out for about a month to do a test project for a large cycling publication, but that'll be the only type of work that it will be taken out of doing open most voted on testing for, is because that data and information is going to be made public anyway, and it's going to be really good stuff if it goes ahead. Can't say what it is because that publication doesn't want any other publication to think that's a good idea and let's go do that first. Aside from that, that is why machine number 4 is going to be existing, is getting back to doing stuff that we can all share and talk about, and test the most interesting products out there, be it products that we think have the best chance of being a great product that we should know about, or products that are making the biggest claims in marketing that we have some concerns how that's going to match up to reality, or simply there's just a lot of curiosity about X product. yeah, trying to get that going as soon as we can. Alrighty, if you cast your mind back, I'm not sure, was it 2 or 3 episodes ago, we covered some really interesting outright efficiency testing being done by German's Bike magazine. And I was hoping that this was potentially a test machine resource that I might be able to use in conjunction with the wear rate correlation testing that I do here, and that hopefully this is going to be something they would continue to focus and expand on, because there's just so much interesting stuff that could be done. However, somebody who I know in the industry who's very, very experienced in all this had a meeting with them and found out a few things which are, I guess, of interest to those test results as well as things going forwards. Firstly, and I guess really surprisingly, and it's a bit of a bummer, is that this machine was basically made for this particular article and project. After its construction, they apparently had 5 days to get their testing done, and then that's that. So I don't understand why you would invest all of that money and resources to build such a thing, and then have such a short play with it before it's mothballed somewhere. I'm sure it's going to come back. But why wouldn't you look to use that as an ongoing resource that they could do so much with? So that is interesting point number one, and a bit of a downer. Next, and likely linked to the fact they didn't have a lot of time to play with the machine, is that they don't know what the test variability for the machine is. So it could be plus minus 0.1 watt, it could be plus minus a watt. Knowing that is very handy, because when it comes to outright efficiency testing, if you sort of did see some of the results that we covered, and if you have actually had a look at that article, but even casting back to ceramic speeds efficiency testing, friction facts efficiency testing, every fraction of a watt can make quite a difference in the league table or the rankings of one lubricant versus another. So things are so precise. I mean, we are measuring efficiency differences between lubricants. So a 0.5 watt different result can mean quite a lot for a lubricant's ranking in a league table. So knowing that is quite important for such testing, which is interesting point number one. Point number two that links to that is they're also unaware of that there might be any variability from one chain to another, even though it's the same chain model and prepped the same way. But again, this is something that's been known for a very long time for those that have previously been involved in outright efficiency testing. From Jason Smith at Friction Facts, he had to do quite a calibration protocol, and same that has been ongoing now for a very long time with Ceramic Speed in their Denmark research lab. They have a very thorough process for basically calibrating every new chain that they get, so that they know what the variance of that chain is versus a baseline. Because again, if a chain is, say, 0.3 watt hotter or colder than what is the normal benchmark, then that needs to be factored into the test. So you could have a machine test variability of X fraction of a watt, and now you've got a chain variability also of X fraction of a watt. Those two could add up to make some meaningful impacts to the league table results. So where we saw, for instance, molten speed wax had the exact same loss at, I forget the exact test loads now, I think say 370 or 380 watts, as well as at 670 or 680 watts. In the real world, no lubricant is going to deliver you the same efficiency loss on your bicycle chain at double the power. That's just not been seen before. So it is unlikely that that is what actually occurred, and would normally be a red flag for when you get a test result like that, go, that's unusual, let's investigate further. But just some unknown factors there that they don't appear to, I guess, have that knowledge or experience in yet, but will now do if they do a future project. It's just interesting points to cover off. And point number three, which also links into this, is that they were not conducting the testing in a climate control environment. So it's basically, I think it was from memory, in a shed. And there was a fairly decent temperature difference from, say, morning to afternoon. And testing was conducted over 5 days, but the person meeting with them was able to guess that all of the fastest results were obtained in the afternoon runs for the waxes, and that turned out to be correct. So As we know, a lot of the time they were, I guess, breaking the wax chains in from sort of freshly waxed, and so some of the waxes were continuing to get faster, especially if it's done in the cooler temperatures by the end of the test interval, and that was not really investigated further. Whereas the afternoon runs had less of a occurrence of that, so they're able to break in, get to their top speed within the shortish time of the test runs, and get a great result. So that is something that really needs to be factored in as well, hopefully by them on future tests. So things like that for outright efficiency testing, again, with just such tiny differences that can mean a fraction of a watt, half a watt, and really change how a lubricant ranks on a league table. Such like each aspect of those 3 points really needs to be understood, known, and quite tightly controlled. So getting that information back from the meeting really helped me understand, I guess, their league table and some of the questions we had around that. And it's something that I will hope that they will revisit this again in the future and be able to retest those same products and see how the league table shakes out this time, taking into account those, I guess, 3 main points that may have impacted the results there. And yeah, I think also what was missing with as they highlighted in the article, that they also subjected the chains to like an hour of sort of mud conditions and retested, but they didn't actually share those results. So I haven't got the feedback on that point from the meeting yet, but I am gathering the results were just a little bit interesting to be able to put into the article without generating more questions versus actual interest in the article. And yeah, there's a limit to how many questions and concerns about the test that you want to generate when you've done all that work. So that's my guess as to why they are absent in the final article, despite the fact they would have been really interesting to see. So your fingers crossed, they loop back, redo, and we get perhaps a more accurate leaderboard and league table next time around. And if we do see that, then we will update. Overall, whilst it's great that they did that first attempt, I wouldn't take those results as gospel rankings of efficiency from one product to another, not by any stretch. At least I do now understand more why Dynamic I believe that's the test results they're using to market that their wax is the best wax out on the market and 6 watts faster than competitors and so on. No idea yet if Dynamics Hyper or Wonder Wax is all that until we can see how it goes on my testing, see how it compares in the wear correlation test that we do here. But at least I understand their marketing claims now and that they weren't just sort of pulled out of somewhere, so that's still something. Alrighty, so yeah, I think we'll finish out. So I just want to highlight awesome work by Andrew, who has finished updating the waxing FAQ document that we have on the website. The original document that I did was absolute jumble and stuff all over the place. So this new format and reorganize things around a bit is much, much better. And I'm also going to, when I find a spot, re-record the original waxing FAQ video I did, which covered the original FAQ document. And again, I was just, a way over-worded rambling mess on just about all of the questions that I was covering. So I'll try to do much better on the re-record and delete the old waxing FAQ video. Just to know, if you do have any questions, so by far the most questions that we receive overnight from around the world and throughout the day is questions around immersive waxing. So despite the fact that it actually is very easy, we get a lot of questions which are, a lot of them are quite basic. It's like probably one of the most common ones we still get is, I've just purchased a new cassette or new chain rings. What do I need to do to clean them for my wax chain? The answer is obviously nothing, because they don't come factory greased like your chain does, so they're clean. You just install them, put your beautiful wax chain on, and away you go. But we get a lot of, I guess, that level of question that comes in each day still. And so we're trying to work out how do we make the information resources, I guess, the easiest to find the answer that you're looking for, so that you don't have to faff with sending in a support request either. So we're always chipping away on that front and trying to update the resources that we have to be the best they are. And you'll find a lot of information in the instructions tab that you will not find anywhere else that's really good stuff. So if you can, try to check here first and use the online resources. The more time that I guess get to spend on these, the better we can make them, as opposed to time for me spent typing replies. So that's the aim. Not that I don't like chatting with people, because as you know, I do. And if you've sent me a support request and the length of reply that you get from me, you'll know that I do. But yeah, so I have fun doing it, but it just does sort of dent what other stuff I can get to each day. Alrighty, that'll do. I didn't get to too many questions today. By the time I sort of run through that stuff, I might do a run through just a bunch of the good questions that have come in over time in a future episode pretty soon. Andrew is actually on holidays for the next couple of weeks, so it's back to me to look after all the orders going out. So that should be fun. But yeah, that will severely dent my normal weeks taking on Andrew's role as well. So my ability or level of time I've got to try to zoom out a video on a Friday is going to be a little bit interesting. So I may not get them out, or if I do, they might be something simple, which is just literally running through some groovy Q&A. But we'll see how we go. Other than that, have a great weekend, everybody. Looks like I think it's all going well. I should have a double race this weekend. We've got an XCC mountain bike race tonight, and then a XCO mountain bike race on Sunday. So all going well, staying upright tonight. I should also be racing on Sunday, and it will be a groovy, fun weekend. Alrighty, till the next one, have awesome times and stay low friction.